order. I'd like to welcome everyone, and just a reminder, if you'd like to sign in, our sign-in sheet is here. I'd like to ask everyone to stand at this time and let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Seiler, do we have any revisions?
We have one revision. There was an addition under the consent items, and that was item G, which was a request by Estill County Emergency Management to be able to use the central office gym this week for Red Cross relief. And I just wanted you all to approve that since it was in the building during a school day.
Okay. All right. We'd like to get started this evening with our facilities and construction update. And first on the list is our Area Technology Center.
We got Jeremy back with us.
Good evening, everyone. We had a great meeting today, I feel like, amongst the contractors and the design team. We really progressed. If you've been out by there, you can really see it start to come together. I kind of go through like I do every week where we're at in each building. It's kind of split up right now into, I say 3 buildings. So Area B, which is the plan view, if you're looking towards from the road, is the very back building. It is pretty much waiting on finishes. As soon as we get tempered air, conditioned air in there, we will start finishes as far as laying the flooring, casework, all of the above as far as finishes. Now, we are looking to get conditioned air in Building B by 4 or 5 is what we're shooting for. So that's when we'll commence all of our finishes on B. Now, Area A, we just started last week, put in the first coat of block fill on the CMU walls. So that has started. As far as MEP work goes, we're about 90% right now for rough-in MEP in Area A, which is great. We're well ahead. We got windows going up in Area A, as you can see. As you drive up to the parent loop, through the parent loop, you can look to the right and see all those windows being installed. So it's really starting to look great. So Area A will pretty much wrap up painting and then drywall, and then we'll bring in, just like we did in Area B, bring in the finishes. Right now, our substantial completion date is 6/28, and our final completion date is 7/22, so it's 1 day before the opening ceremony. But we are able to get temporary occupancy and have you all in there well before that time. And have, pretty much the plan is to give it to you all in 1st of July. That way you all can get your all's teachers on board, get the equipment in, and be ready for the school year, August 2021. That's pretty much that side. Real quick, the Pedway Tower, we did get that first floor, second floor poured, and we are continuing up to the 3rd floor and roof, and then that will complete the Pedway Tower, and we can connect it to the Pedway, and you'll see a big difference. But happy to answer any questions. It's kind of the update. If you'll have any questions, just let me know.
Any questions from you all?
It just looks good. I mean, I'm scoping y'all out, Jeremy. You just don't know it. I drive by there 2 or 3 times a week just checking it out. It's just every time I go out there, something else is done. Something else is done. I think they're being very diligent about trying to stay on the completion date.
Ms. Donna, you had a question?
Mr. Seiler and I did have a couple of questions today about the roadway leading up there, because we're going to be hosting regionals for baseball. There's going to be a lot of traffic up that way, and so we would just want to make sure that you all are aware of that, and that'll be coming up. I don't know the exact date.
It's about the second week of June. We talked about it today a little bit when we started talking about the high school
Okay.
phasing project.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
have to make sure if,
So the plan on the big PRs, the Parent Loop Road, the bus loop and all that was, so Standiford's gonna be coming in on 415, and they're gonna be doing the back alternate for the back parking lot, getting that parking lot pretty much on binding course only. We won't do the final surface yet, but we'll get it to that point. We'll move all of our trailers and everything to that parking lot, and then we won't bring Standiford back until to do that work as far as all the PRs. So I don't see any problem with traffic. And then
We
we can
may
wait,
need
we
to-
can wait after the region to even start that work, so.
and then he's gonna do the middle school road and stuff. after
Right.
that,
Mhm. Correct.
I tell you that if there's a little bit of blacktop left as he's doing that binding, that
Mm-hmm.
one real rough spot, even though it's gotta be tore out there, coming up on the middle school road.
Right, right.
It's got the bad spot.
Yeah, just plop it in there.
filled.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll have quite a few people here for regional baseball, I would think. if-
And what was those dates real quick?
Relax a little bit.
What
Do you
was,
remember the dates?
It's about, I know we told them today they could have the high school, or they could have for the high school project on June 14th. I think the regional is that following Monday. It starts like June the 7th. So it's somewhere that weekend, June 5th, 6th, 7th, starting in there that week is the regionals. Of course, we could still have both teams in it, so if softball's still in
Right.
it, which we would expect they would be, then they would be needing to practice. So we just need to make sure that we get them chug holes filled and stuff. And
yep.
We just wanted you guys to be aware of that.
Yeah, I'm glad you told us, because we
were.
were ramping up to start that work, and I wasn't aware today during our meeting. We had one at 11 o'clock to go over all the PRs and kind of a game plan, so
It's actually
that's good to know.
a construction site, and we tried to explain it to
Yeah.
everybody. We've got a construction site, and there's going to be some issues, but it doesn't mean we can't alleviate
Right.
some of them.
And we'll try to make sure we have people there to help with traffic flow and parking and all of that. But I thought it was something y'all needed to be aware of, like I said, so.
For sure, appreciate that.
One update that alternate, what was the parking in the front of the high school? It was alternate.
3.
3. It was for the 30-some parking spaces that was in front of the high school. And then, of course, once we got the gas line mapped out where it was at, the gas line was in the way. Well, Columbia Gas will not let anybody touch that gas line, even though we've got contractors on site that could probably move the line or at least dig the ditches or do something. They
I'd
wouldn't
do-
let us do anything.
For that price, I'd do it myself.
So they came back with a price, and it was
For $95,000.
$95,000, which is almost the cost of the total.
Pay me a quarter of that, I'll do it.
So we will
That's
submit a
crazy.
PR, and there'll be a change order to give the board back right at 120,000, give or take a few $1,000s.
Yeah, just to put that into perception, the whole entire alternate 3 was 120.
And
they
there's
wanted
nobody
90.
there that will even work with us.
No.
This is crazy to me.
We like to never got a price, because when we first asked, can our contractors do the work? Absolutely not, which I can understand that. Listen, it's a gas line.
Yeah.
If something happened, that line blew, I wouldn't have wanted to been the contractor that would have replaced it, because then I'm accepting responsibility for it. So Columbia Gas was gonna do it, so, you know, we're in the high school alternate, we're actually adding some parking in front of the gym. You know how the parking stops there, so we're adding some spots there. We'll gain about 12 spots there, so we're gonna lose a few spots. We'll just grass it back down, they'll fix it back, and
Half.
we'll roll that money into the high school project. That's what it's there for. It's all construction money, so to just roll in. That's just a piece of, that's the worst piece of news we've had on this whole project.
Yep.
In all honesty, and okay, it's bad news, and you're getting back $120,000. So
There's
if that's the bad news you get,
Take it all day.
There's
we
your,
can take that one all day.
there's your ticket booth.
Hey.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of things, that's right. Real quick, just on the operational standpoint, I did send a text to Senator Storm and to Senator Stivers this morning, thanking them for the budget. Of course, the budget has passed, it's went to the governor, there is operational funding for our tech school in there, along with all the other tech schools in the state. We're in the process of hiring the principal. The principal's application process closes next Wednesday. There's 6 or 7 applicants right now for that job. And of course, remember, we don't hire that position. That's through KDE, but myself and Dr. Orr at Powell County will sit on that committee to do those interviews. So we will get the principal hired, and as soon as we get the principal hired and the governor signs the budget, then we will post the 6 teaching jobs along with the custodial position. There's also a receptionist or a clerk's position in that building as well. So we'll get those jobs posted. So we're moving forward. KD's working well. We're getting ready to release our furniture bid. We're working with Ross Tarrant on the furniture bid, and that bid's getting ready to go out probably in the next week. Somewhere in that neighborhood. We'll have prices back in 3 weeks. So got a lot of equipment to buy. There's over $1 million worth of furniture and equipment in that building. But we'll get it done. KD's been working with us. And of course, when we get the principal there, the principal can start doing a lot of that work, and it will move away from us. We've been trying to do it because it means a lot to our kids. It means a lot to the kids at Powell. It means a lot to any kid that attends there. So we've been trying to do the work, but thank goodness if we can get a good principal hired, they can take some of this off of our shoulders at the district level. So that's not only the construction update, but that's an operational update. And anything else, I don't know if there's any other questions you all may have. If not, then I guess Ms. Ispert, we're ready to move forward.
Okay, thank you for that update. We have a pay application number 19 to consider.
And I'm gonna see if it'll pull up real quick. Yeah, it's doing a lot better tonight. Last time it was really slow. We have a pay app for this project. It's pay app number 19. It's for $587,770.28. It's my recommendation that that payment is made after review by Codell and Ross Tarrant.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a
So,
motion.
Brian Covey, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Tammy Hardy. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Unanimous. Thank you, Jeremy, for that update. Anything else you have for us?
No, sir. Looking forward to phase 7.
Okay, we have a bus garage update.
Thank you all. It is, there's not nearly as much to let you all know about with the bus garage as there is with the ATC. A lot more activity there, but I was happy to see coming into town today that the fence and the gate have been installed in the last month. That was really good news. There are still a few outstanding change orders that have been requested by the district that we are working through on that particular project. And like I noted last time, probably the contractor is going to need some dry weather to address some site issues that in order to get the site up to specification levels, right? So we have provided a punch item list for him to tackle, and a lot of those issues are going to need to be tackled when the weather is a little bit drier than it has been this month. So the pay app that you see before you does sort of indicate that there's still a little bit of money left in that project, but they're just sort of asking for money that we do feel like that they have installed and completed to date. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about that particular project.
So the bus garage is 100% occupied now, fully operational. There's no glitches with anything. There's fuel in there. They're doing everything there now, correct?
That is a first-class facility, a 10 compared to the one that we had, and I don't see how there could be any complaints on that facility. Anybody that's complaining on that facility just leads an unhappy life. That's all you can say. That facility is absolutely fantastic. There are 3 change orders or 3
Yes.
issues hanging out there, I believe. One is the power washer. They still don't have the capability of washing their buses, but they still have the capability to wash them here. We also have lights that needs to be installed under the canopy so they can see in the darkness. Like right now, if somebody wanted to fuel the bus before they left, probably wouldn't be a good idea. So hopefully, when they got back this afternoon, they fueled the bus so they don't have to do it in the morning,
Right.
so it won't be dark. But ultimately, we'll have to have fuel lights on the fuel station, and there are some issues with the plug-ins for the winterizing of the buses during winter. Those things, hopefully, I've asked Peter to bring those back to us
Yes.
next month. We're hoping Stanford will be done in May, and we can close this
Right.
thing and do a BG1, hopefully with Angie in June, and get it closed out before June 30th. I'd like to close the project out, that way when the auditors do the audit, it's gone. The only thing that we would have left under construction would be our 2 new BG1s and the tech center and the high school, which of course is getting ready to start. So, no, the bus garage is fantastic. I mean, it's,
Well, I was gonna ask about the gate, and maybe I just misunderstood it. At one point, I thought we had discussed maybe electronic gate.
it's
or-
still electronic.
We're
They're,
still, okay.
yeah,
Just
I don't know if
finished.
it's fully operational yet, but they've got the arms on it. They've
Okay.
got,
Correct.
they've got to come back and set it. It's electronic. It can
Okay.
be controlled
Because I
from the
noticed when
bus
I passed
garage.
by last night going to the ball game, it had the
Yeah.
padlock stuff, and I was like, well, I thought we was getting electric. I
It
thought maybe we
will.
were waiting on it to come in, so, okay.
It's got arms on it right now, but it's not fully operational electronically, but they've got everything installed, I think, in
Right.
terms of the mechanics of it. It's the electronic part of it.
So we have a pay application to consider.
Yes, we do. It's in the amount of $32,358.79. Ross Tarrant and Peter reviewed it, and they feel like that is a good amount for this pay app. So my recommendation is to approve the pay app.
Do we have a motion to approve pay app number 13? Ms. Sheila Samples has first. Do we have a second? Carrie Smallwood is a second. I'd like to call for a vote. Any in favor? Any opposed? 100% unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving along to the high school project, Phase 7 renovation.
Yeah, so it's been a big month for that particular project. Currently, the regulatory agencies, the Kentucky Department of Education and Housing, Building, and Construction are reviewing the project. The design team is currently working really hard to provide Codell, the CM, our final print set documents. We're scheduled to do that on the 23rd of this month. And it is my understanding that we're looking towards right around the 1st of the month of April to go out to bid. So we're coming down to the wire on this one. And it is, it's been an honor. It's been a really fun project to help design and to be a part of during these meetings. But I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. I wasn't sure, Jeff, if you were gonna.
Jeremy, can you pull up the document? And this is pretty much the final documents that are right currently at KDE that's in review. Just so everybody will know, and we will, I promise you sometime this week, and Jeremy, you make a note, we're going to post this document along with just some information about this project. We need to post it to our website and everything so that everybody will know where we're at in this project. We have reviewed this project every board meeting, and I apologize if anybody has not, kept up with those updates, but we've been pretty thorough at every board meeting, almost every change that's had to occur. Just go back to the history. We approved the BG1 on this project all the way back last fall. Once it got to KDE, there was really some back and forth on whether or not they were even going to approve the project. It was December before we really got the final okay that, yes, we're going to allow you to use bonding money or restricted money to do this project and pay for the athletic projects. And honestly, if it had not been for an agreement that myself and our board team and our architects had obtained 5 years ago, we probably wouldn't be sitting here with this project right now. They would have denied us and we would not have got to have done anything. So that was really a good meeting that we had 5 years ago when they honored their commitment at that time. So this is where we're at, and Jeremy, if you'll just go down through there, and as you all know, this is the project, this is the whole project. Of course, you've got the stadium, you've got what's going on in the high school, which is about 40% of the total project. Then you got the baseball and softball complex. There's 3 different phases of this project. Jeremy, you can go to the next page. This is all inside the high school, and Peter's told you all this 100 times, and I'll let Peter go. Peter, if you want to tell them again what's going on in the high school so they'll know.
Sure. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in the building. The big systems upgrades include getting the building totally on HVAC controls, right, building-wide, which will really help the district save money with mechanical expenditures moving forward. Areas of the building that have not received LED lighting upgrades in the last 15 years are going to also get those. The gymnasium is going to be air-conditioned, conditioned air in the gymnasium and the lobby, and we are going to put new basketball goals in the gym that are going to operate, that will move up and down and rim adjustable, all of those good things. There are some security.
Shot clock, don't forget, shot
The
clock.
shot clocks on the backboards, yeah.
Although we're against the shot clock in Estill County right now. But shot clocks go on there, including the buzzer system that when the clock runs out, the backboard lights up.
Yeah,
So they meet the new NFHS standards.
right.
What's going in. Throw that in there.
Yeah, okay. That's good news. A lot of security upgrades, including the secure entry vestibule, which to come into the school, which will be really nice to control traffic coming into the school. Also, every single door in the building is going to be keyed to the master system for the district. And we're also doing a lot of upgrades with ADA accessibility with door hardware, as well as Senate Bill 1 door hardware to make sure that that people, when they're in the classrooms, are in the most safe situation that they can be in. So we got a lot going on with that as well. There's a new trainer room outside the gym I probably should have thrown in at that point. And then we are doing some egress issues down on the lower level and out of the classrooms, yes, right there, sort of helping a couple people get out of the business classrooms in a little bit more safe manner. And then we are also going to be providing new sinks in all of the gang restrooms throughout the building as well. So
The one great thing about the key system in that building will be that now we've basically eliminated all keys. So it won't be key access, it will be by card access. And that way, if somebody enters your building at 3 o'clock, you know exactly who comes into your building, who leaves.
right.
And so it's going to give us the ability, it's going to add a level of security that we've not had at the high school. So that's really good. Jeremy, then you can, one other thing, there is a sanitary sewer line up
Yes.
front that's going to be repaired as part of that project. It's listed as an alternate, but it'll be picked up.
And a retaining wall in the back as
Yeah,
well.
the
And that's,
retaining
the
wall.
retaining wall is in base bid, so.
And that's the wall that's failing back by the kitchen. We want to get it replaced before it falls over and hurts one of our cooks coming in or entering the building or some delivery person.
Hey, Jeremy, can you go back to that last slide real quick? Yeah, if you can scroll into that very front entrance vestibule, we're able to really pick up like a lot that's going on at the very front of the school. Yeah, with the administration area, if you can scroll up just a little. So you're going to get the new secure entry vestibule. You can kind of see to the left of that the new reception area where people, once they get into the entry vestibule, they have to move through that reception area to get into the school proper. Just north of that reception area across the hall, you'll see the new first aid area, which is going to be a great addition to the school, and having it that close to reception will be really nice as well. And then you can also see across on the other side of the entry vestibule, the new, sort of the new administration suite with the conference room and the principal's office that's going to be developed in that area. And you can kind of get an idea of what the new sinks will look like in those gang restrooms. So there's a lot in that little sort of square part of the building that you can kind of see what the types of things that we're doing in the building and throughout the building. So thought I would share that. Thank you very much.
Then, of course, the athletic facilities, and I know that, listen, this is what everybody, really gets excited about. That we're excited about the fact that the school itself is now going to be absolutely first class in terms of security, in terms of safety, in terms of secure entrances, and all the energy upgrades and stuff that will take place with this. But of course, here's your new turf field with your 8-lane track. We've really cleaned up the thing that a lot of the expense in this project and in our area is going to be retaining walls. There's a lot of retaining walls that has to be put into this project because of just the land that we're dealing with. And even though we've had to put a lot of retaining walls in, it was a lot cheaper than going across the road and having to do almost $1.5 million, if not more, of site work to do that. And that's okay. We talked about that before. We really bought that property, number one, for the bus garage, but also for a new middle school down the road. So that property's there, it's ours. And I would assume that the best thing that could happen when a new middle school's built there, go ahead and build your baseball, softball, and football field there with the new middle school. And, then you got facilities for both. Everybody shouldn't have to be sharing those facilities. You can build a grass field for middle school and that type of stuff. But a lot of work on as you all know, and I'll point out for anybody that doesn't know, that we've included a lot of concrete here because there's 500 seats on the visitor side. So anybody inside this seating area, it's all grass. You don't have to worry about grass being blown all over the track and everything. Same thing on our home side. There's a lot of seating area. Nobody inside the fence, nobody on the track. For security purposes, everybody's in the stands where they should be. 1,500 seats on the home side with VIP seating. Storage underneath. That's why you've got all the sidewalks back here. This is now the VIP parking area that has moved beside of the current football complex. It will be here, a new greenhouse, and the greenhouse was moved because, number one, we needed a new greenhouse, but also it opened up this area here to create this entranceway, this grand entrance that will be a ticket booth area, hopefully, which is right now part of an alternate, but the caboose will move to this area. So it'll be like a thoroughfare that everybody will come through. When fans come here, when our team comes out of the new dressing room, the cross arm for the railroad track moves down here, so it comes across the sidewalk and it gives the team entrance onto the field. There's your new locker rooms for football, track, and soccer. Track, of course, we'll use it in the spring, soccer in the fall. Tennis will also use this area. You've got steps into the tennis courts, and everything is enclosed inside of a fenced-in area. So it's first class. It's definitely beats what we've got. It's a great upgrade. It's better than, it'll be as good, if not better, than any facility in this part of the state. So that is the football area.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What are we going to do with the bleachers on the home side for now?
They no longer meet code.
Okay.
So when they're touched, they have to basically be,
Gotcha.
I guess, recycled. And part of that in the contract is that the company takes that into consideration as they remove those recycle costs. A lot of times they use that as part of their bid specs too, don't they?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
they collect that stuff. They recycle everything that they can, and it does help you a little bit on bid day. I'm not saying it's going to save you thousands upon thousands, but
Right.
it can save you some money. But they've got to come out because they're no longer worthy of code. The two sets that we actually have there that we bought for the visitors, they will move softball, baseball because they're brand new, and they will move up there. Jeremy skipped that other page. It sort of showed the alternate there. We will be redoing the back student parking
Right.
lot. And that's where you're going to gain your parking. That is a huge area back there, but it's not been striped the way that it should be.
Right.
You're going to gain most of your parking back there in that area. So, and then that little square right up there at the top is a retaining wall right there that goes in the back of the building. That is part of the base bid.
And then we're gonna include some type of steps that go up to the ATC.
Yeah,
Is
we
that what
will
we
do
talked
that.
about?
Yeah, we will do that. Hopefully in that parking lot right there, Jeremy, if you move your, no, leave it right there, but put it right there where your arrow's at. We're hoping to connect those, set of steps to that parking lot, and then those steps will move up towards the tech center that's right there on the left, on the extreme left, and tie into this sidewalk right here. So the steps will come out of the parking lot and go up, and then tie into this sidewalk that gets everybody. So it brings all these parking lots here, so somebody can park here during football, walk down the steps, walk down the steps, walk straight to the stadium. So it ties your two campuses together to utilize all the parking that you have at the middle school as well.
One more question that I had, and I can't remember what we decided about this, is that big ditch line.
The ditch line back there has to stay. You're talking about the big ditch line? It has to stay, and that's a very touchy subject because EPA, if we touch that ditch, it's gonna cost, what was it, $250,000 fee just to touch it?
To apply
Is
for
that
a permit, for a permit.
For a permit,
Yeah.
you've gotta pay $250,000 just to apply for the permit to do anything with that ditch.
The one behind the
Yes,
parking
sir.
now?
Yeah.
The bigger one, the big one,
The big one.
the one that they dug out that last year.
Because we wanted, when we first talked about it, we were gonna put it underground.
Yeah.
And once we got to looking, I mean, I couldn't justify spending $250,000 taxpayer money to just get a piece of paper to say we can put a culvert in. That didn't include the price. That was just $250,000 to
Right.
get a piece of paper, say that we could do it. And, you know, and the reason why we know that's so, Ross Tarrant did a project in Clark County.
Yep.
They did cover up a ditch line and they paid the $250,000, but the difference is there's a lot larger tax base in Clark County. They could afford to do it. We just couldn't afford to do it, but what we're gonna do is we will have that ditch line cleaned up and we'll put guardrail down through there. As part of the project, it will be sort of like the steps. We'll put guardrail down through there where no cars will go over in it. And then we'll get it to where we can maintain it. And so it won't be such an eyesore.
I just can't remember what we decided about that.
That's almost as bad as $90,000 to move a line 300 feet. I mean,
I was getting ready to say the EPA and Columbia Gas have a lot in common. but-
yeah, I mean, that was just ridiculous. We couldn't afford it.
Maybe there's a little rare frog that lives there.
That's what they assume, right? That's exactly right.
If it's got a cattail, you're in trouble. I'm telling you, you just are. It's a wetlands.
Yeah.
And that's the way they see it. You can see on this big drawing here, you see the shot and discus that's to the right of Jeremy's arrow right
There
there.
you go.
That's where it goes. You cannot throw the discus on the new turf because it voids your warranty. So we had to move it somewhere. That's the best place. It will not interfere with the practice area. And then, of course, you got baseball and softball. You can see all of the concrete area that goes there that cleans that up. New dugouts, new press box. You can see the sidewalk leaving the baseball area to go down to the new parking lot. And then, of course, you got the parking lot or the sidewalk that goes over to the softball stadium as well. And then there's a new parking lot proposed in behind the softball stadium that you can see right there. And you can see all the concrete work that goes there. Now, just remember that the base bid right now is the dugouts, the press box and all that. The parking area, there's two different alternates here. You've got the main alternate that goes from the middle school drive all the way up and includes those two parking lots, that first parking lot and the one behind softball. It includes that one, so that's one alternate. We feel like it'll be picked up as an alternate in the project when the time comes. The one that quite possibly we would like to pick it up but may not be able to at this time is the back parking lot. That goes back there where the old burn pile used to be and all that mess back there that we cleaned up a couple of years ago. If we can, we want to be able to develop that area as well. It'll just be what kind of bid day we have. That's why it's important right now for KDE to get going, get this thing going where we can get it to bid and try to get, you know, we got a great bunch of contractors right now working on the ATC Center. Hopefully, you know, they're sitting there saying, hey, we don't have to move anything, it's right here. Let's just bid this project, we're right here, and we might be surprised on bid day. I just hope we're not surprised in a bad way and it goes the other way. But now he increased, so everybody know, there was some cuts made to this project. We talked about that 2 months ago, and there was cuts made because when Ross Tarrant and Codell sat down for the second time and they looked at the rising cost of construction and those things, they felt like we was a little bit over $1 million above project cost. And the one thing that KDE told us, you cannot increase this cost of this project and slant it more towards athletics. So we have to be very careful about how we move forward here, because we've got to get a final approval too. Just because we bid it and then we get bids back, we have to submit those to KDE, those contracts. And if they decide, hey, you all didn't honor the promise that the agreement we had, they'll stall it. We'll be right there, we'll be fighting again. So I don't want to get in that predicament, so.
And one of the things in this project, it's included that we get equipment, like the discus and the pole vault and, or
Yeah,
whatever.
there's $100,000 in the BG1 that will pay for all the track equipment, it'll pay for all the lockers in the locker rooms. We feel like that's a good amount.
I
If-
thought we
yeah.
talked about that, but I was making sure.
Yeah, there's
that
$100,000 in there to try to pay for that stuff. Track equipment's not cheap. You'll spend $60,000 of it in track. By the time you do lockers and all those different things, new lockers in our dressing rooms and stuff, $100,000, I mean, it's not that we've thrown a lot of money at it, but it'll cover what expenses we need to.
Yep.
I feel good about that. And then, of course, we've seen the dugouts before. The only changes in the dugouts is that there are storage areas in the dugouts. All those little storage buildings and stuff come out of there. All that junk goes away. Everything will be stored in a proper building. New press boxes with concessions and with bathrooms. At one time when I first got here, all I could hear, could you just build us a couple of bathrooms up there on the hill? Now here we are doing this, and we're just seem like, I understand people want the best that they can get, but just know that we have sacrificed, previous boards sacrificed in terms of the nickel. You guys have been right here approving these projects with us since you've come on since January. I mean, everybody's moving forward. We want to give our kids the absolute best. Is it going to compare to some school districts? No, there's some school districts, they've got a lot more money than we've got. They can do a lot more. But I tell you what, we'll be in the top 75%, we'll be in the top 25% of all school districts in the state in terms of their athletic facilities and what we have. So I'm proud of this project. I'm proud that this is the culmination of 6 years of work. So it's at KDE. Hopefully, we're going to get approval to go to bid in the next 2 weeks.
And we also have to look at all the events that we can host,
Yeah.
where we have to go visit other school districts. They can come to us now.
They can come to us and play soccer now. We don't have to go to Perry County
We're
every
down
time.
band competitions.
We can have a band competition. We can host track meets. We can build a track program. It's hard to build a track program when you can't even run one time around the track without stepping in a hole and killing yourself. Okay? Kids aren't going to run track when that's what you got. I mean, why
You
would
got
you?
a tree growing through the tennis court.
You got tennis courts that you can't even play on, and even had a kid got injured 2 years ago because, well, we really wasn't supposed to be playing a match there, but one got by us and the coach played a match there and we got an opposing player hurt on that court, and we shouldn't have been playing on it. That'll be taken care of. Hopefully, I don't know where the bids are gonna come. They're gonna be brand new tennis courts. We have an alternate for lights for those courts. We might not be able to afford it now, but maybe in a couple of years, as revenue gets a little bit better, maybe the board, whoever's sitting here at that time, can afford to put lights on the court. At least we're gonna have a price, we're gonna know what they're gonna cost, pretty much. Now, they'll go up a little bit over time, but we'll know. So, it's a great project.
I have one more question. Is there an entrance into the football stadium without steps so that, and wide gates so that they can get band props and equipment out onto the field?
Band props and stuff can come through the gates at the old, let's say the newly renovated Kevin Richardson Athletic Complex. They can come in through that area right there. And this area right here is a road onto the track.
Yeah.
It's for ambulances, it's for
Yeah.
access by the ambulance. So yes, this here, when they come into this, there is a
There is a ramp.
ramp here for anybody that's handicapped. It is steps, but it is a ramp. If you want to go to the tennis match, most of the time they're going to enter here and they're going to go through. If you'll go down just a little bit, Jeremy.
Other way.
Wrong way. Right here, that's good. There's steps right here that leads up. So when we're playing tennis, most time people will come through here. This is a walkway, more or less, and they go up into our tennis courts. If somebody's handicapped, there's a gate here that they can access that sidewalk. There'll be bleachers on the tennis court, so you can sit and watch a tennis match, and you won't have to watch it through a 10-foot fence. The side fence that's on that side of the tennis court is a 42-inch fence, or 36.
42.
42-inch fence, so you can sit in the bleachers and watch a tennis match and not have to look at it through a bee's eye.
It's perfect. Does anybody have anything else? So, under budget and ahead of time, Peter.
There you go.
That's your-
That's the way.
Hey, no pressure, Peter says, no pressure.
That's your goal.
All right. So if there's nothing further with facilities, we're moving along to our air quality upgrades.
Okay, as part of CARES Act, see you, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank
See,
you.
Jeremy.
As part of the CARES Act money that we received, one of the big emphasis for that money is improving air quality. And guys, no matter what, if we eventually get a hold on COVID, and even if we get it put down like measles got put down at one time, you still have air quality issues whenever you're dealing with the flu and all those different, viruses that kids pick up during the school year and everything else. So they've really asked school districts to look at improving air quality. And we've known for a long time, we've had some air quality issues, and it's really a shame that we had air quality issues at West Urban. It's a brand new school. Because we've had complaints, and Peter's been there the whole time, we've had complaints about how there's sometimes you can smell the venting of the sewer pipes and those types of things in that area. And a couple of years ago, we had it looked at, and we found several things that were not completed during that renovation project. But of course, by that time, the warranty and all that stuff had run out of those projects. You can't hardly hold a contractor responsible 4 or 5 years after they've left the project. You possibly could sue them, but time you paid the legal fees and stuff to sue them to do $100,000 worth of work, you've not gained anything. So this is a perfect time when we've received $3.7 million in CARES Act money to do these two projects. So the first project, and Peter can take this and go with it, but the first project is for West Urban to do improvements there, and then we have another BG one that will be for upgrades district-wide in all the rest of our buildings. So Peter, if you don't care to take that.
Yeah, so essentially at West Urban, there are going to be, it's sort of a three-pronged attack, sort of to address things with the mechanical engineer. There's some makeup air units that need to be repaired. That's a big portion of this that will provide fresh air to the building. They have struggled to operate and function adequately for the building, so that's going to be a big step. There's also some bioionization filters that are going to be added to those units. And then Mr. Saylor mentioned sort of a trap primer issue and odors that sort of have been present in that building for quite some time. And that is also going to be addressed as part of this particular project. And then the second BG1 addresses bioionization filters throughout the district on smaller units, right? So West Urban is included there because the bioionization units for the big project are just for those makeup air units. But there are small units, HVAC units throughout the district, at West Urban, at the high school, at the middle school, and at Estill Springs that all could benefit by bioionization kits that will filter the air more adequately. And so I believe this is a project that will address about 175 units across the district and get those filters in the school.
So what's the upkeep with that, Peter? I mean, are we buying filters for that? What do we do?
No, I don't believe so, and I probably would need to touch base with my mechanical engineer to make sure that I had, but no, I think once they're installed, I think this kit just will work to take care of it.
One thing that as we started researching this with the first round of CARES Act money, we only received $900,000 the first round of CARES Act money that came to this district. Well, by the time you bought sanitation equipment, and you brought
Right.
PPE for students and for staff and all those issues, that $900,000, there wasn't enough money there to do any of these particular projects because we actually researched on it. Putting filters, could we do more allergy efficient filters? Well, in order to do that, it increased in order to be able to airflow to take out those particles, it made the filters much larger than what the filters were
Right.
in there. So thus you had to go in and you had to change a lot in terms of air ducts and everything in order to do that. And then of course, the filters got so large that you couldn't even push the air through them. So that wasn't the best way. So one of the things is air purification or using bipolar ionization in order to do that. Todd has done a lot of research on this. And as you all know, Todd's a pretty good HVAC person, also a certified electrician. So he's pretty doggone good at this stuff. And he, after looking at several different options, had come up with this bipolar ionization. We actually installed some bipolar ionizers in our nurses' stations this year because we thought, okay, where does a sick kid come? They come to the nurses' station. So that air needed to be clear. So we actually installed some ourselves. So as we move forward, we feel like this is the best option. I know that this is a pretty hefty price tag. It's a little bit over $300,000 at almost $380,000, I think, at West Urban. I believe it's the BG1. If you can go back to that, the BG1 at West Urban, Jeremy, which is one up, and if you'll pull that one up, go to the second page. of that.
Mhm.
That's the description of what's happening there, and then the second page is 352, not 382. But what that does is once that's done, West Urban's HVAC system and the ionization of that system is completely done. We've got some issues there right now with makeup air units not working properly or not working efficiently. So we're trying to move this one along pretty quickly. And then the district BG1, this is for all the other schools. And as Peter told you, this is for not only the big rooftop units
Right.
that will have ionizers, it's also each individual classroom will have ionizers as well. And to do that, the estimates, and like I said, Todd took a lot of estimates and had a lot of companies come in here. So we feel pretty good about these prices, where they're at. It's another $192,000. So as you can see, this is basically a $550,000 project. But remember, this is all out of that federal money, the $3.7 million.
But are we sure that this is a wise way to spend that money? Are there other needs besides this that we've looked at, or?
This is the number one priority that they put down for the use of this money was the
Yes.
air in these buildings.
That's
So-
what I'm just trying to get out
Yeah.
here.
When KDE released the document, I don't care to share that document. We can put that document out if anybody that wants it, or we can even put it up on our website, that they listed all the different things that, and one of those things was air quality. Sheila, you had a question too.
The 3.7, is that the second round or is that the?
That is the second round.
Okay.
We have no idea what this third round is, in terms of how much money is going to be involved there. And I still don't really know. There was some language in the budget that passed the House and
Yes.
Senate that also took a little bit more control of some of that CARES Act money. Now, I don't know. I think the way it ends up, that CARES Act money, usually there's like two pots. There's one pot that's designated specifically to schools. So this time, we got $3.7 million that was designated specifically to schools. It was based on our Title I formula. There's also this other portion, which is the governor's portion, that he controlled. Now, I believe that the legislature has taken control of that pot of money, but the money that's designated to the schools by federal law has to come to the schools.
Okay.
But to go back to Ms. Donna's question, their emphasis was air quality.
So basically, they gave us a pot of money and they said, these are the priorities and these are the
Right.
things that we really want you to consider spending it on.
That's right. Air quality was the big one. The next big one was summer school and the extended services, and we're in the process of planning a summer program right now that's not only for this year, but probably for next year. That's probably going to cost us somewhere around $650,000 to $750,000 this summer and next. Also, as part of that was health services for students. So, we've been paying for 2 nurses out of their CARES Act money. We'll continue to pay for those 2 nurses. The other part of that was health, or emotional health, mental and emotional health. And our hope is that when I bring you the CARES Act budget next board meeting, I promised you in April you would have that. We're going to ask you to fund a school social worker to deal with our families, and now we can even use a social worker even more after the flood. We're also going to ask you to fund a full-time counselor at South Urban because of the needs that we have with that population, our birth to 4-year-old program. So we're going to ask for those, and the other one is maintenance of facilities and custodians.
We've never had a counselor at South Urban for the birth to 4-year-old.
No, not since Miss Click. Miss Click was the counselor there, if you remember Rebecca Click, when it was kindergarten and preschool. But once kindergarten left that building, there's not been a counselor there since. And it's a need, especially with what we have going on in families, a lot of grandparents raising kids. It's really a need, and so we're trying to focus that on. And I tell you what, Angie, if you'll take a note, we need to send the board members that guidance. I should have already had it to them, but I guess I've got too many irons in the fire. But we've been talking about this now for the last couple meetings, and they gave us those parameters. They've also told us, take some of these expenses that you have and you can reimburse prior year expenses. If you remember in the budget talk, I told you that the CARES money that replaced our SEEK dollars, we paid for our buses out of it, we paid for our property insurance out of it. We can reimburse the district for that money as well, which of course you approved a 1% raise for our employees, or at least we did in the draft budget. We're going to be able to follow through and give our employees a 1% raise now because of the CARES Act money. Because we'll be able to shuffle and pay for things out of CARES Act money that we've not been able to pay for in the past. So I'll have Angie, we'll send that guideline to them tomorrow, and also just make a note that we'll post it to the website as well. And guys, I apologize if we're not being as transparent as we need to be. We discuss this a lot in board meetings. We'll try to get some things up. What we do after every board meeting is I release every one of these documents to the public. If you want to know what's on the board agenda and you want to see these attachments, by no later than Monday, we will release these documents, and all you got to do is go to our website, click on school board. Jeremy's showing everybody right now. If you click on school board, and there's a place right there, all you got to do is just click in. There's every board meeting, and we've released Every document, you can view and print and do everything. Everything's there. Everything's open book. This is open records. This is not communist Russia. This is open records. Everything we do, everything we spend has to be there. So
We put the CARES Act money in a separate fund.
it is in a federal fund at the state level or at the federal level. What we have to do is do a cash request well, we can do one monthly, but we normally do one about every 3 months. That's the same way Title I works, special ed, all of your federal programs, we do monthly or quarterly request for that money. So we basically spend the money and then they refund it back into our account,
Okay.
is how it works.
Is everybody clear on all of those things?
So this is one of the top 2 priorities of the CARES Act, is to fix your air purification in your buildings. And maybe, just maybe, this will be one of the things that hopefully will lead us at some point in time in the fall. We're going to be wearing masks when we go back to school in the fall. I believe that with all my heart. But at some point in time, with improved air quality and those types of things, I think that we will see a time when masks won't be required if we get control of the pandemic, like we believe that it's going to happen. So I think we ought to go ahead, Ms. Isford, if it's okay with you, let's take a separate motion on both of these. That way we've got a motion on each BG1 to move forward.
So we'll do them one at a time. So on the first approval I'm asking for is approval of BG1 and an agreement for West Irvin Elementary for the HVAC and the ESSER upgrades.
I make a motion.
So Ms. Sheila made a motion, Tammy Hardy made a second, and called for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimous.
Thank you all.
The second is to approve a BG1 and agreement for the Estill County ESSER district-wide air purification upgrades. So there'll be a separate BG1 for that.
I make a motion.
Okay, so Ms. Sheila makes a motion, and Tammy Hardy makes a second, and call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? So it passes unanimous. Okay?
And before we let Peter get out of here, Peter, if you don't care, just a timeline on these. These are going to move pretty quick, my understanding is.
Yeah, we're expecting to have construction documents ready for you guys at next month's meeting. And we'll get Jeremy, I think, is now going to upload the BG1s to KDE. KDE will review that and assign a tier to the projects, which is probably mean they can go straight to construction documents, and we can go get out to bid really quickly. So I expect to have construction documents for you next month.
And go to bid and work starting in May.
Yes.
Really quick. I mean, it can turn around that quick, and it probably really needs to.
I think you need it complete before the school year starts.
That's the plan.
It'll, hopefully, some of it will be done even before this school year's out. Yeah, so we'll get on those rather quick. Peter, we didn't discuss timeline on the high school there a minute ago. But we did have a meeting this afternoon after the ATC meeting in terms of timeline, so everybody knows how the high school project is going to go. Hopefully, we're going to go to bid here sometime April, receive the bids end of April. Sometime early May, we may have to have a special called board meeting. Our hope is we have to have a special called board meeting to accept the bids for that project. And then, of course, it'll take them a while to mobilize and stuff, but right now we're looking at a start date of June 1 for the high school project. It's going to be in 3 phases. Phase 1 is the baseball, softball complex. It will start in June, and it will run all the way through November. The high school project itself, there will be some of that. It's, I believe we said it was is it phase 3?
It's phase 3.
High school is actually phase 3. A majority of that work will take place next summer, but a lot of that work will take place during the school year. The work in the gym will take place. The roof HVAC units can take place during the school year, but they don't want to get involved and get the school tore up and we can't have school. And the issue is, but that KDE has pushed it off so far, right now you've got lead times on equipment that is several weeks out because of the pandemic. They can't get the HVAC units, they can't get the items that they need. So there's no need to get the school tore up, then you can't get the stuff in and can't get everything done. So the high school itself is actually phase 3, but that doesn't mean there won't be some items that will be completed during the school year. But it shouldn't impact what's going on inside the high school. And then finally, phase 2 is the football stadium and stuff. It begins November 1 and will be ready by August 1 of the following year. And the whole project goes June 1, 2021 to August 1, 22, and everything done and out the door. And then we ain't got no more money and Peter don't get to visit us no more. So that's I wanted everybody to know the timeline. We'll try to get some of this, and Jeremy, just work with me this week. We'll get the timeline published. We'll get all this stuff and try to get it online. And again, I apologize if there's been any appearance that we've not been transparent. I promise you, if you go back and you look at the board meetings on YouTube, and they're all there, you can go back, you can see all this stuff has been discussed and it's been debated. I guess I should have done a better job making sure that everybody stayed informed. But I can tell you this, I can assure you 100% that these facilities are going to be first class. And this board knows that. They've been there every step of the way. So they're going to be first class. You can be proud of them. That's it for construction, I guess. And
Hey,
Peter,
Peter.
sorry to
Thank
keep you
you.
around.
Peter,
Oh,
you
no,
know
that's
your
fine.
charge.
Yep.
So,
Under budget, on time.
thank you for coming.
Thank you all.
That's better than the charge I heard Roland get one time.
Oh, my.
Roland got the no change order charge.
Thank
See,
you all
Peter,
very much.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so we're down to consent items.
Real quick, let me roll through those real quick, and I promise it'll be real quick. You got all your normal bills. You've got your AmeriCorps workers for this coming year at Middle School West in Estill Springs. I'm asking you to go ahead and just roll over the auditor service contract for another year with White and Associates. You've got that contract in there. They've done a fantastic job for us the last 3 years. They give us a price of a little over $17,000, which I think is less than what it actually was this year, or right on it. There's no increase there, is there, Angie? Yeah, I think we signed a 3-year contract with them before. This is just to roll it over for 1 year. We have the sports medicine proposal. Bluegrass Orthopedics is going to provide the athletic trainer again. I think that's for a cost of $8,000. We have an addendum to the evaluation plan, and that's due to the pandemic, and that is also part of your attachments that you've been able to look at. This one's brand new. I did put in email that came from Ronnie Riddle there for you all to see, and basically the Red Cross will be in Estill County this coming Tuesday. They'll be providing relief funds to our family. So we're going to set up the gym where families and citizens of the county can come into the gym. It'll be locked off here, of course. All of our employees are upstairs. They'll have the whole use of this facility, and I think that's the least we can do to help out our families. Speaking of helping out our families, Lord, what a great response from other communities coming in here and helping us, different groups. We had school supplies delivered here last Saturday. We had EKU deliver supplies to our schools. There's been a great outreach of support from everybody. We really appreciate that. And sometimes, you know, we really had a bad situation here, but then you look at what happened in Jackson and what happened in Beattyville, which probably is maybe on a little bit greater scale than what we had. But you know, whenever it's you. It doesn't matter what,
Do we
when
have
you're the
any
person
idea
having
how
to go
many
through it.
families that have kids in school were impacted?
We know exactly how many. Our family resource centers have kept up with them. I've not looked at that list lately, but we know exactly which families.
Okay.
We know which employees have been impacted. Our Frisky people have worked with those individual families, so I know that the last count from Ronnie was that we had approximately 200 homes either that was damaged or destroyed, and the number of homes destroyed was close to 100. So there was a lot of damage here in Estill County, but you take, as I said, even Boonville, there was a lot of damage in Boonville I didn't realize, but you know, and Powell County, Clay City was a mess over there, and so it's
Well,
been
and
a
just
really
the
tough time.
outpouring of support from other people coming in. But wow, our kids helping other kids. I mean, our football team,
Yeah.
our baseball team, our basketball team. I mean, kids helping kids that were their teammates, and it's pretty heartwarming.
And it's been amazing, that's
Very.
exactly right, and it's been amazing, the outpouring. Harvey Tackett from Bath County called me today, wanting to know if there's anything they could do. Matt Thompson from Montgomery County called, wanting to know if anything they could do. Here's Owsley and Lee and Powell, they're all hit just like we are. All four of us have talked. Tim and Sarah and Anthony and I, we've all talked, we've reached out to each other. Everybody's come together. David Gillen from Madison County reached out to me as well. So we've had a lot of outpouring and a lot of support. And I know that we could call on any of those districts. I mean, as a school district, we was really blessed. We came through the ice storms and everything with one punctured roof at the high school. And a few gutters tore off the building from where the ice come off of those metal roofs. Other than that, we've not had $1,500 worth of damage. So as a school system, we really fared well. As a community, we're hurting every day. And we've still got businesses out here on 89 that's not opened up, that's not going to open up for the next few weeks, months. So our community's in a lot of need. If the school district can help in any way, you just need to let us know. And we'll try our best to let our family resource centers, our youth service centers, our community education director, we've got some resources that we have here that we can provide. The one thing about it is we can't help you if you don't ask. And if you ask and we can't do it, we'll help find somebody that can.
And we put contact on our website.
Yes, we did list stuff on our website in terms of everything. We've communicated all that out. So it's been really good. I just appreciate everybody, and been a lot of outpouring and support, and a lot of prayers, and that's a good thing. So those are the consent items, and if y'all are good, you can pass those in one motion.
Okay. Do we have a motion to pass our consent items? Have a
Motion.
first by Brian Covey and a second by Sheila Samples. And I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimous, 5-0. Okay. Next, we have our superintendent's report.
Just real quick, you got your notification of personnel, and I did include item B, if Jeremy, if you'd bring it up real quick, the certified personnel by school. I did tell y'all a couple weeks ago, and if you can rotate that for them.
Won't let me.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
I actually rotated it when I said, and it's just the way it loads, but I put that in there for you all to look at, and the whole point of that is I told you that we were not planning on making any cuts in any staff. We were expecting our regular students back, and you can sort of look at that and go on down, Jeremy. It tells you each school, how many teachers they get through SBDM, how many they get through Title I. You've got your district coaches, you've got the grant programs, and then at the April meeting, the high school and middle school will make a request to you from their council for some additional teachers. And if you go down to that last column, Jeremy, I think it's got 143 on the bottom. 143 is the number of teachers that we've got in our district this coming year as of right now. And we're still evaluating whether or not we need an additional special ed teacher in our district. We've not made that decision. And somehow, how all this has worked out, we actually have a reduction in one, but it's not at the school level. There's a reduction of one staff member, but it's not located at the school level. It's the way that it's been accounted for a little differently. When we picked up some more teachers through Title I, it actually reduced some need out there. So We're actually showing one less, but in reality, it's in some grant programs and stuff that's went away. So I just wanted you all to see that. The next item there is the mode of instruction, the school update. Today, we have now, and this is all on the website, it's been out there for a while. Today was the first day that all of our high school students that are in person have returned and they're attending at the same time. So now all schools are in school 4 days a week. Wednesdays, that's all students, groups A, group B. Wednesdays right now is still being used for targeted instruction. We did see a slight increase this past Wednesday in terms of the number of students that coming in. I'm not pleased with those numbers yet. We've got a lot more students that need additional help that's not taking advantage. But I will tell you this, our schools was out all week doing home visits. There's personnel doing home visits. We've actually told some kids, if you want to be able to pass, you got to get back in school, because if you don't get back in school, you're not going to make it. And we're starting to see those numbers go up. Just an update, we have had a couple of positive cases at one of our elementary schools. We're still reporting that at the state level. We've done all the contact tracing and everything with that, and we know that's going to happen. But so far, they've been in this classroom and they've been in that classroom. It's been isolated incidents that we've been able to contact trace. And there will be incidents where students will get COVID. We know that's going to happen. The key is that we try to control it and mitigate it the best that we can. Spring sports update. I will be getting guidance, and this is going to go to the website as well. And Jonathan will be here next board meeting. He said he wanted to attend next board meeting, but he and I spoke extensively about this. We keep hearing a lot of stuff out there that, why can't we do this? This school district's doing that. This school district's doing that. Why can we not do that? We took a lot of grief the other night during the district tournament when they showed a basketball game that took place in the mountains up here, and it was on TV, and there was student sections, and students didn't have masks on, and it was a free-for-all. The place was jam-packed. Bottom line, that school and that district tournament, they're not following the guidance put out by the Kentucky High School Athletics Association. And I think you all hired me, the people that did hire me or voted for my contract. They might just be, and sometimes maybe regret that, but I'm going to look out for this board. And my job is that I have to look out for this board, and I'm supposed to give you all the best advice I know how to give you in order to protect our school district. Lord knows we don't need a lawsuit because we didn't follow guidance. And I'm not going to do it. I will not do it. I refuse to do it. You can get mad, you can scream, you can holler, you can put it on Facebook, you can do whatever you want to do. But we're going to follow the guidance of the KHSAA. And hopefully, I think that we're going to see, I think the governor's getting ready to relax standards again. I think he's getting ready to increase numbers. When he increases numbers, we'll increase numbers at these events. So the first couple weeks of the season, we may be limited. It's going to open up a little bit. I believe by April 1, we'll see those numbers increase. And I talk to Donna a lot. She is the board chair. And she usually comes to you all with that information if it needs to come to you all. But I believe that, and that's the one thing Jonathan told me today on the phone. Said, Mr. Saylor, as long as you all follow the guidance of your health department and you follow the guidance that has been provided to you by the High School Ethics Association and KDE, somebody may sue you, but they can't collect. But the very minute you don't follow that, you're in trouble. We're going to post that as well, Jeremy, so make a note. Austin sent me those documents. Austin and I are meeting tomorrow. We're going to be discussing transportation during spring sports. And we're also going to discuss those guidelines. And we'll be putting those documents on the website by Monday. So hopefully we'll have those done.
And just so people know, the number of tickets you get, whether or not the band is allowed to come to regional, those things, some of those things are not just us trying to be mean.
No, it's not.
Those
That,
are guidelines, and we did not deny the band going to regionals.
no, not at all. And matter of fact, Philip Watts, superintendent at Breathitt County, called me this afternoon. And they are asking their health department to reconsider because it's really, and I will say this, I don't blame any health department when they create guidance. They're not creating that guidance without being led by the state Department of Public Health. The Breathitt County Health Department has been really strict all year. I've got friends that work in that school district. They've been really strict in terms of what they've allowed in terms of numbers at games, and their cheerleaders cheering at games. The band is not played at games. That has been all under the direction of that health department. They're starting to get a little bit of grief because the girls' tournament at Perry County is allowing bands. Well, that's the Perry County Health Department. If they think that it's okay, then they can do that. But they're not going to go against that guidance. He has told me he'll call me in the morning. They've asked the Breathitt County Health Department to reconsider. But I also told him, I said, if we don't know something by lunch, we're not going to be able to make arrangements for our band to go. So we've asked. I'm not going to demand. I'm not mad at nobody. I'm not going to kick and scream and holler and fuss and call anybody names.
But they're following rules just like we're trying
They're
to
following
follow
rules just like we followed rules. We took a lot of grief because the people couldn't get into the game. We were told 25% of the crowd space. I'll tell you a story. I met with Commissioner Tackett recently, and he said there was some baseball teams down in Western Kentucky. They got creative. They said, well, we're going to take our bleachers out, and that way we don't have any bleachers, so anybody can come. And he told the AD, he said, the last time I checked, if you take 25% of 0 seats, 25% times 0 is 0. So now nobody can come to your games. So it doesn't help to take your seats out. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff you got people trying to do. Guys, COVID is real. If you don't think it's real, all you got to look at, there's 5,050 some people in Kentucky that's died. I lost a good friend in Wolfe County that died. Okay? My wife's mentor and friend, Betty Novak, lost her husband. So I know that it's real. We've had people that's been sick. We've been lucky in Estill County not to have had it to some degree that other counties have had. So I'm just not willing to take a chance. I'm not going to take a chance to put you all at risk.
So can we talk about tickets? People want to know what we are doing about tickets. For the games in district that we just had, each player, each participant, cheerleader, band, basketball player, they were allotted a certain amount of tickets, and then whoever they gave them to was on them.
That's right.
And so for spring sports, people are asking me, what are we going to do about ticket sales? Is there going to be a limit? It's an outside sport. What are we going to do? And so what you're saying is we're getting ready to release those guidelines.
Yeah, the coaches have already received guidance for their players on the field. We've got to decide what we're going to do in transportation, because right now we have a limit of 20 on a bus going to an athletic event. Baseball teams and softball teams are usually bigger than 20.
But once again, that is a rule. That's not something that we're just coming up with.
That was the guidance we were given. As a matter of fact, if we had followed that guidance to a T, it was a recommendation. If we'd followed it to a T, they basically said that you could only put 12 or 13 kids on a 72 passenger bus. We developed that we said that only one player per seat, nobody sitting behind the driver. Because our number one goal, I love athletics. I coached. I love it. But our number one goal has to be that this coming Monday morning we have kids in school. That's got to be our number one goal. And if I allow things to happen that our bus drivers get sick and our bus monitors get sick, we can't have school. And so our number one goal has to be that. So starting out, as of right now, as of today, our limit is 25%. Now we can play with that 25% of our current seating capacity. Now you do have the fact it's outdoors. And there are some relaxing of regulations in that. And we'll get that out to fans this week in terms of what that is. I would think that there will be some kind of limit up front starting out that's going to be similar to basketball.
But right now, we don't know what that is until probably April 1st.
We'll have it out next week.
Okay.
We'll have it out next week in terms of how many kids.
So I
We may
guess
ver- yeah.
specifically, it's going to affect softball and baseball.
Yeah, it won't affect track and tennis that much right now. We may even have to take 2 buses to a baseball game. We may have to take our varsity players on the first bus and go play the varsity game and have a second bus leave at a different time to bring our JV team. And then once the varsity team is through playing, they'll have to board the bus and come home, and our JV team will stay and
And
play.
right now, we have no idea about what regions it's going to look like for baseball or softball or any of those.
No idea, but I do expect, based on that meeting that I had this past week, I do expect the attendance numbers to be increased. They're supposed to be increased before April 1.
But we will get that information out to everyone.
As soon as we get it, when they allow us to increase numbers, we will increase numbers, I promise you.
Okay.
We want to give everybody an opportunity. But again, our number one goal is going to be to keep kids in school. And let me say this for updates in terms of spring events and everything right now. The high school is currently planning for some type of prom or senior activity, and I think they're even planning for a junior activity, because we probably can't have an event where juniors and seniors can all go. We can't put 400 in anywhere, outdoors or anywhere. We just don't have that type of facility. But if we do a senior event one night and a junior event the next night, then we'll be able to do that. That's going to happen. Our last day for kids is 5/21. The night of 5/21 and 5/22, we're planning some events for juniors and seniors that will be similar to what the prom is. On 5/28, you mark your calendar right now, we're going to have graduation, some way, form, or fashion. There will be a limit into how many people. We just can't turn 2,000 people loose on the football field. But there will be a limit in terms of the number of people that can attend, but we will have an outdoor graduation and we will live stream it
What
as
if-
well.
What if the weather doesn't permit?
The
What if
weather.
If the weather doesn't permit, then we'll have to try to work it around that weather event. We'll schedule it for 5/28, and if it rains that night and it's gonna be clear on Saturday, we'll have it on Saturday.
Okay.
We'll flex it wherever, but just plan it for Memorial Day weekend, that's when it's gonna be. So we're gonna have some events for our kids. We've got to try to do that. But again, that all centers on one thing. We can't miss school because of COVID, because now there's no more NTI days. House Bill 208 has restricted us from the number of NTI days. We can't go back on remote instruction. You've only got 5 remote days in case of emergency. If you go more than 5, you have to make every one of them up. So if we miss 15 days because we don't have bus drivers to drive buses, that means we're not going to get out to June something. We'll have to make up every day, per day. So that's why we've got to do the number one thing, protect our kids and protect our employees so we can have school. And we'll have extracurricular activities when we can. Real quick, we started our equity and diversity training. We had Dr. Roger Cleveland with us here on the 14th, I believe it was. I don't know, it was a week ago. I forgot the date by now. We're going to be working with him over the next year in terms of providing equity and diversity training for our staff, and then rolling out some, we'll be rolling out some different things to our students as well, trying to prepare them for life in the real world. And then as F, part of the sports medicine contract is that Markham and Wallace, their foundation supports that athletic training program, so Markham and Wallace reimburses us for half of our costs. And they provide nutrition training and stuff for our athletes, and they want to do that again, and that's the letter that you have right there from them. It's their foundation. I can't remember what the name of their foundation is, but has provided it in the past. So, and I didn't see it in the letter either. So those are your superintendent report. There's really no action items there. And thank you, Ms. Isford, for your time.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any public comments?
No, we don't, because I didn't post a form for this meeting. That was, I'll take one for the boss on this one, and I have made calendar entries a week before each of our following board meetings, so we'll have it out on Monday as moving forward.
Well, one of the-
Jeremy, if you don't care, if you would post one, maybe tonight or in the morning, if there's anybody sitting there that's out there watching this board meeting tonight and they have any questions, if you want to submit those, we'll respond to them. If it's something that the board needs to respond to, I'll contact you, Donna. And we'll respond to them, and then we'll post those responses online, okay?
And just
We don't
remember,
want
everyone has Mr. Saylor's phone number. If
You have my phone
something,
number since-
Give him a call.
Since day one. Everybody's had my phone number, so you're more than welcome to call me anytime during business hours.
Okay, so we have nothing further. We'll close and then go into closed session.
And I think we need to remember this, Rebecca. We need to also, when we put public comments, we need to have board member forum as well. So if the board has anything they want to, I don't know if that's been one agenda item in the past. I can't remember. We need to look at that. We can add another column if the board wants a column, or we can just do it during public comment. How do you all want to do that?
Board forum is fine with me. Is that good with you guys?
We'll just always put from now on a board forum after the superintendent's report in case any board member has anything that they want to bring before the board or the superintendent, and then we'll have public comment. So if you want to back up, we can add that. She'll add that
Okay.
to the agenda, and you can do that.
Do we
We
have,
may need to vote to amend the agenda. Would that be right to add that? No, I
we
think.
can add it next time. How about
It's,
that?
it's a non-action item, we can add it next time. If
We can
anybody
add it
now
next
wants to
time.
do it, let's add it next time. And then if anybody's got anything right now, you can do it during public.
Yeah. Anybody have anything? Nothing? I would just like for us to maybe have a moment of silence for our community and all of those around us in this time of need that we've already talked about. So let's just take a moment, if that would be okay with you, Mr. Saylor.
That'd be
Just
fine with me.
remember
And I
Our
think
kids
let's
and,
remember Adam as well. Austin, I'm sorry.
Austin Dunn.
Where'd I get Adam on her?
So as some of you may not know, we have a former baseball player that has graduated. He has cancer. He is in the hospital, very critical right now. He just was awarded his diploma from Berea College. I think several of our board members were instrumental in having that done. He's very near and dear to a lot of our hearts. And his mother was a teacher here in the district for many, many years. And if we could just have a moment of silence and not only remember Austin Dunn, but also remember our children, our teachers, our people in the district that were affected by the flooding, our community, and let's just all have a moment of silence and give God all the praise and glory for everything He does for us. Okay, thank you all very much. So at this time, we'll need to go into closed session, so I need a motion for that. Sheila Samples makes a motion and Brian